long overdue crafting update. I knew that it had been a while since I had recorded a video, but I didn't realize it was quite as long as it has been. According to YouTube, it's been since February 2nd. So I apologize. I really have no excuses. It's just that I can't seem to get my act together. Welcome to all my returning friends. Welcome to anyone who has just stumbled upon me. I hope that you'll see something here that you like and that you find inspiring. And I'm going to warn you that this is probably going to be long, and I apologize up front for that, but there's a lot to show. So grab yourself a snack, a drink, something to stitch on, get comfy, and let's see what I've been up to for the last few months. We will, as usual, start off with cross stitch. I will try to go back and put in pictures of where things stood the last time you saw them. And I'm going to lump some things together because they have gotten worked on multiple times since you would have last seen them. So the way my rotation is working this year, I am spending the first full week of every month working on Stone Cottage Keep, which is the piece I chose for the 2026 Haid sale. And I had done the math and figured that I needed to do roughly 800 stitches a month in order to make sure that I had page 1 done by the end of the year, which was the goal you had to meet in order to get the free Amy Stewart chart when we all signed up. And then that ended up being a moot point, but I still wanted to see if I could meet that, so I was trying to make sure I was doing at least 800 stitches a month. I apologize for the glasses. I wear contacts. I hate that my contacts need glasses, but this is what it is. So I worked on Stone Cottage Keep every month, first week of every month. In February, it got 1,259 stitches. In March, it got 1,099 stitches. In April, it got 991 stitches. May, 1,248 stitches. And June, 1,405. And if I were really smart, I would have added those up ahead of time to tell you how many that was overall, but I'm not always that smart. So, can I set that there and not have it fall? I also didn't put these in the right order. I will try to put a picture here of what Stone Cottage Keep looked like the last time I showed it to you. And here it is now, what you can see of it. I will admit you can't see the very top because I've had to roll it up, but I am pleased to say that page 1 is done, and we are well on to page 2. I think I'm going to go that way. Well, yeah, I'll probably go that way. So I'll probably be rolling it back up a little bit so I can get to that top row. But I am pleased with how it is looking. Again, that's Stone Cottage Keep, Heaven and Earth Designs. This is 18 count, easy grid, 2/1 is how I'm stitching it with all of the called for DMC floss. Then the second and third weeks of every month, I work on whatever is called for Whip Go. In February, a Christmas ornament was called, and I was able to start and finish one Christmas ornament. I just need to fully finish it now into an actual ornament. The other thing that was called for Whip Go in February was This Is the Day. I will try to put a picture of where this one was the last time I showed you. But I did work on this for an additional 4 hours. That's what's, or more. That is what is on my Let Go board for this one, because it's not in Pattern Keeper in a way that it keeps track for me. Like, it might be in Pattern Keeper, but I can just mark it off. I can't actually count stitches. I'm pretty sure that I worked in the house and just added more bricks. So that is This Is the Day. This is a Plum Street Samplers pattern. I am stitching it on 36 count cream Edinburgh linen, 1/2 with a mixture of what's called for and some, well, I think I'm actually doing mostly what's called for. I don't know if I changed anything out or not, now that I think about it. But I see that my battery was really not full, even though I checked it right before I started this. So hold please while I change the battery. Okay, I apologize for that, although to you it probably didn't look like anything. I did check the battery before I started and it said it was still full. I had used my camera the other day. I guess it was lying to me. Thankfully, I do have 2 other batteries and I always keep them on the charger, so that makes it easy to switch them out. So let's see, I just talked about This Is the Day. My full coverage piece that was up for the rotation for, I think, January and February, because I think this is what I showed in January, was Mini Village Bookstore. This is a Heaven and Earth Designs. It's Randall Spangler, I think. This one got 746 stitches. Hopefully I remembered to show you a picture beforehand. What did I do on this one? I think I'm really trying to just fill in ninja stitches over here and get it so that it's more even across. Here's where we are. There's all of what I have done so far. I still would really like to see this one be the one I focus on for next year to get it finished. So I think that this one comes back up in the rotation this month. And I think I'm actually going to maybe give it a little bit of extra time in hopes that I can get it closer so that it will be realistic that I can finish it next month. This one is also 18 count, easy guide, 2/1, full cross with all the called fors. This is my oldest full coverage, well, more or less. It's my oldest active full coverage, let's put it that way. And I know that I started it originally, I think in 2016, but then I restarted it, I think in 2017. So it needs to be finished. So that covers February. Then in March, we changed, again, I did Stone Cottage Keep, but I've already shown that one to you. Then my full coverage piece rotation changed to Mini the Library. And so this one came out in March. Oh, I guess Stone Cottage, oh, never mind. I'm confusing myself. Minnie the Library came out in, I worked on it, it says in March, April, and May, and I ended up getting a total of 3,765 stitches added to this one. Here's what, I'll try to put a picture of what it looked like before. This one, I originally started with Sarah Stitchin' Mommy, and at the time, Terry from Terry Lee Crafts was going to start it also, and then she didn't for some reason, but she has recently pulled it out and started it, so I'm excited to see her work on this also. This is where mine is now. And again, I think I'm trying to just get it so that it's more even across. Also 18 count easy guide, 2/1 with all the called for DMC flosses. My two Whip Go projects for March were Official Snow Guide, which I will have to try to put a picture here of what it's supposed to look like, but it doesn't really matter if I do or I don't. I had intended to start and finish this one, and I was pleased that I did indeed start and finish. This is a Lizzie Kate, I can tell just by the font. Official Snow Guide. At 2 inches, we have Snowball Fight. At 4 inches, we build a snowman. At 6 inches, we buy a shovel. And at 8 inches, we cancel school. So, there's that. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this yet. Finish it off somehow so I can put it out with my Christmas or my winter decor. But since today is July 4th, happy birthday, America. I'm not too worried about tackling that anytime soon. The other Whip Go goal that was called in March was my Wow piece. Here is what it's supposed to look like when it's finished. And let me get stray threads out of the way. Here is where we are right now. I think this is on my board 3 more times, but we are going camping later this month and I intend to take it with me. I'm actually kind of hoping that I can knock out all of those goals plus some that week. This is a great one for when we're camping, because it's on 18 count. I dyed this fabric myself, but it's pretty easy to see. The pattern is on my tablet, so it's just the colors flow very nicely and in nice blocks, so it's good camping stitching. So that rounds out March. I did 524 stitches on that piece in March, and the goal is 500. So in April, again, Stone Cottage Keep and Minnie the Library, which I've already shown you. The 2 Whip Go goals for April were Glory of Autumn, if I can find a picture of where it was previously. I'll put that here. I am pretty pleased with how far this has come. This whole side, I believe this is all done. So now I just need to fill in from here across and then do the back stitching. I want this done so badly because I don't enjoy working on it. It actually kind of hurts my hands sometimes. I think it's a beautiful picture, and I do look forward to having it hang up in the autumn months, but I would like it done. and it is on my board a couple more times. So it should, I'm hoping I can finish it this year, but I'm not gonna say that I'm going to, because who knows? Things sometimes take me longer than I anticipate. The other piece that was called in, sorry, zipper, maybe, if I can get it open, in April was sweater weather. And this is the sweater weather I am talking about. It's a Plum Street Samplers. There's another piece that some people are stitching that's called sweater weather, because they say it and I look up and I'm like, oh, that's not the same sweater weather I'm working on. This is part of the Weenies line. And if you're new here, I am stitching these for my sister-in-law who has a dachshund named Penny, and this is probably the last one of the series I will make for her, but I've made several, and this is very, very wrinkly. So this has been called twice so far this year, and each time it was to be 1/3 of the way finished. So I'm pleased to say that I have met the goal both times. So the next time it gets called, it should be a finish, because I just have the right hand third to do. I really like this one. This one I am stitching on, I want to say it's the called for. This says the model was stitched on 36 count Hazelwood. I think it's 36 count. I don't know if it's the Hazelwood. I am using, I think, all the called for, or if I'm not using there are some fancy flosses in there. If I'm not using the fancy flosses, I am using the called for DMC. 2 over, no, I think this is 1/2 is what I'm doing that one. That wraps up April. I'm running out of space to put things. May, again, worked on Stone Cottage Keep. Worked on Sunlight Sonata. That one came out in May and June, and I am actually still working on it. I'm going to work on it through tomorrow. And then I will put it away for a while. Here is where it was the last time you would have seen it. This is a Tilton Crafts. If you've been here a while, you know I restarted this one last year. I had started it previously on 25 count white, and it was just, I couldn't do it. So I bought this hand dyed 18 count, and this is where we are. We kind of have the corner of that the draperies done. What I'm working on, am I putting in the right spot? You probably can't even see it on camera, but what I've been working on the last couple days and what I'm going to work on today and tomorrow is right here, like right down through here. There's a great big huge, like 2 big huge blobs of 3865, which is basically white. And I kind of just want to knock that out and be done with it. And then after I get that done, I want to continue this, which is the top of there's French doors right here that lead out to a garden. So this is like above the French doors. I want to finish this till it ends up, it's not the window anymore, because that's hard. It's a lot of, I know it doesn't look like it, and when you're looking at the floss, you don't think it's going to be hard, but they're all variations of pink and blue and white that are so light, they all, when you first look at them, almost look white. So I'd really like to get that done, and then honestly I think the rest of the piece will be relatively easy because I'll have the lightest stuff out of the way. Then in June, I again worked on Storm Cottage Keep. I worked on Sunlight Sonata. The two, and Gloria Bottom was one of the Whip Go draws for June. The other Whip Go draw for June was another Christmas ornament. And I'm pleased to say that I got that finished. And reminder for those of you who have been here for a while, and just to bring everyone up to speed if there are new people here, I make 4 Christmas ornaments every year. I have 2 boys, I make 1 for each of them, and I have 2 nieces that I'm relatively close to, and I make 1 for each of them. So I'm pretty pleased that not only did I get that one done, but I got that one done, and I got that one done. So 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all done. I just have to make them into ornaments. So happy about that. It helped that I picked a nice, very simple, quick to stitch ornament this year. That was a freebie. I don't have it sitting right here. It was a freebie that came when I ordered something from Stitch in Time over Saginaw Way, and when she mailed it, she mailed me that that freebie, and I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna make that this year's ornament. Okay, so I want to show you very quickly. Hopefully I can make this look okay. If not, I will cut this out and I will put a screenshot in. There is my Whip Go board for my cross stitch. It's looking pretty good. Like I said, WOW is on here 4 more times. 1, 2, 4 more times. I'm hoping I can get all 2,000 stitches done during our next camping trip, plus some, and so I will go ahead and mark those off, and that only leaves 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 things. I would love to get this, like a coverall or whatever they call it in bingo, before, like, well before the end of the year. That would be really nice. So, okay, then I have one other stitching thing to share. And I'm pretty sure that my niece does not know I make these videos. But Jay, if by chance you've stumbled across this, fast forward a little bit. Because I want this to be a surprise. But my niece, who is in her early 20s, and she's married, she sent me a picture of this a couple weeks ago. And it says world's greatest fisherman, and then it says catch of a lifetime. Her husband is quite into fishing. And she said, I think we need this. And I was like, that's kind of funny. And so I did some searching. Well, it turns out it's a Dimensions kit from like 1994, so it's older than she is. And it's also stamped cross stitch, which I have never done. And I feel like I've heard people say that stamped cross stitch is a great way for people who've never cross stitched before to learn how. And I guess I would say I disagree, because it's not hard, but I think having the holes so you know right where your needle goes is a lot easier, in my opinion. I actually was intending, when I ordered it, to just go ahead and stitch it on Ada, but here's where we are so far. I have I have a lot of the fisherman done, and I have a little bit of her hat done. This right here, the water where his fishing line is going into, that's pre-printed on the fabric, and it's not indicated on the chart. So I would have had to figure out how to stitch the water with no charting, and I thought, no, I don't want to do that. So I actually just got this in the mail like last week, and I haven't worked on it a ton. It goes relatively fast. I'm hoping to get this finished up this month, and then it will just kind of be a fun little Christmas thing that I give them. So that starts my plans for July. I'd like to finish World's Greatest Fisherman? The Greatest Catch is what it's called. I will continue working on Stone Cottage Keep. I will be pulling Mini Village Bookstore back out, and I will be working on WoW. That wraps up cross stitch. So next up, let's talk about knitting. In my last video, I showed you my progress on the dress I was knitting for my granddaughter, and I have finished that, and it has actually been given to her. I will put a picture here of the finished product. I was happy with how it turned out. So hopefully at some point I'll get a picture of her in it, but who knows. Then when I had that finished, I decided that I was going to start working on another project, and this is going to be a long-term project, and it's going to be, the whole point of this project is to use up scrap yarn. Basically what I'm going to do is make a blanket. I found a pattern, Kay from the Bakery Bears, I believe, is the person who wrote this. And it was a paid pattern, but you basically make squares and you make 9 of them at once. You end up with a 9 patch, and then you can knit the 9 or sew the 9 patches together to make a big blanket. So here's one 9 patch. They're pretty easy to make, and after you've done 1 or 2, you don't even need the pattern anymore. It's great car knitting. So that it's a purple, maybe there's gonna, come on, is it focusing? I can't tell if it's focusing. And then this is a white, this is a gray, and then this is a different purple. I have made 2 of those 9 patches. And then I put this aside to work on something else, which I'll talk about in a minute. So I still have a lot of yarn left of this color scheme. So I should be able to make several more 9 patches of that. Then I went through all of my, I'm hoping I can show this through the bag. Probably not. I went through all of my yarn. Sorry, I know that's probably really loud. I went through all of my yarn and I broke it up into color schemes. So let me pull this one out. Ooh. This one is going to be a brown color scheme. So we have all of these yarns. This is harder than you might think. I have those yarns. I'll probably again use this darker one in the center. Oh wait, no, those are 4 different. I may end up with a couple of different variations on this one, but we will work with whatever, we'll figure it out. So I have that. And I have a blue colorway, which will be it's like a silvery gray and a couple different blues. So I will make some 9 patches with this colorway. Oh, there's one more. There's that also that will go in there as much until I can finish it up. Oh, I'm making a mess. And then I have a burgundy red colorway. So pull these out. They even labeled them. And I have another ball of this one, but I'm not going to pull it out because you don't need to see that I have another ball. I just want to show you this will be the third or the other colorway. And I don't know, I mean, we'll see how many 9 patches I get out of each one of these. Who knows, maybe I'll end up with a whole purple blanket and a whole blue blanket and a whole brown blanket. I don't know, but I just don't have enough of most of these to make anything with, so I want to use them up. I put that away. I really have made a mess. And I started on another dress for, this one's for my great niece. And I actually started and have restarted because here's where I am. I restarted like 2 days ago. This is the same brand yarn that I made my granddaughters out of. Hers was just a different colorway. So this is like white and pink and sage green. I thought I had been super careful when I started this, and that when I joined in the round I had not twisted anything. Well, I got quite a ways. I got, I probably had this much-ish done, and I realized that I had a Mobius strip. So I had to pull it all back and start over again. And this is how far I've gotten. I'm curious, these are Knit Picks. I don't remember the exact line name. Needles. They're nice. They're what's the word I want? Interchangeable. So I have a whole set. This is the second set though when I've done a very large project that it's like I have worn the coating right off of them. Does anybody else have this problem? I don't think that I knit that tightly, but it's kind of frustrating. I did search on the internet. The internet said I could use something called wood butter on them. I did buy some. I have used it. It made them better, but it didn't put them back to where they should be. So I actually have a set of metal ends that, according to the help, I chatted with the help person at Knit Picks. They said they would fit my wires, so I didn't buy new wires. I have a set of metal ends coming because I figure those I can't wear out, hopefully. But anyway, it's very frustrating. That's at least the second, if not third pair of knitting needles that I've done that to. And like I said, I didn't think that I scraped that hard, but obviously I'm doing something. That wraps up knitting. Let's move on to quilting. The last time we spoke, I showed you my spring wall hanging that I finally had finished the binding on, and I showed you my patriotic one that needed the binding. Here's a picture to prove that I finished the binding, and it is hanging up currently. And I showed you some quilt squares that I had been putting together to make a quilt. And I am happy to say that I have finished it. I probably can't even get back far enough to show it all to you. It's actually quite large. Like it almost, I think it could almost be a queen size bed. It's maybe just shy of a queen size bed. So definitely for a full size bed, which I didn't realize it was going to be so big, but it actually, the pattern calls for another border, but I'm just going to leave it with one border, and then I'm going to use a black, I think, for the binding. I have the backing fabric, and I have more than enough that I will be able to do the binding out of it. But I need to take it over to the long armors and have it quilted, and I just haven't done that. Partly because I know it's probably going to cost me a couple $100s, and I haven't felt like I have a couple $100s lately. Little side story. Many of you know that my husband and I have a fifth wheel and we like to go camping. And we did not get out for our first trip until June, end of June this year, which was fine. And we always are thankful when we get where we're going and we get home from where we've gone with no incidents. But I guess it was our turn, because on our way to our camping weekend this last time, I don't want to say blew a tire, because it was more like we just shredded a tire on the camper, and we ended up sitting on the side of the highway for 4 hours before somebody was able to come out and help us and get it changed. So needless to say, I spent a little money because I had to buy new camper tires. So we didn't want that to happen again. We figured if one was going to go, the other 3 were probably close to getting ready to go, and we thought we'd be safe to just, we thought we'd just be better off to just buy new tires and hopefully avert any further crisis. Anyway, my fun, weird story. I need to come up with my next quilting project. I don't really know what I want to tackle next. I have stuff. It's not that I don't have stuff. I just have to figure out what I'm in the mood to tackle. Oh, wait a minute. I have one more thing to show you. I'm going to just put in a picture because it's currently underneath a television, which I could lift up and pull out on my own, but I don't want to. I did make another table runner. I'll insert pictures right here. And I even quilted this one myself, which, not my favorite thing to do, but it went pretty well. Anyway, that is wrapping up quilting, and like I said, I need to figure out my next quilting project. I just haven't done that yet. Hopefully I'll be back in a month and I'll have one to show you that's in progress. Next we'll talk about paper crafting. My paper crafting whip go board is so far behind it's not even funny. I probably could mark a few things off from the stack I'm going to show you here, because I don't think they are for any of the things. I don't think I already did that, but since I can't remember, I'm just going to leave them. I did make a bunch of cards one day, and I will quickly show them to you. This one is going to be, is already the ribbon is kind of wonky. Anyway, that one is one I made for next year. This one will probably be for someone this year. This one is earmarked for somebody for next year. That one was actually a card that I had gotten, and I trimmed it down and made it the card front and added some little bling in the corners. Reduce, reuse, recycle, you know. Graduation card, I had the pieces and parts all cut out. I just slapped them together because, like, I have a huge envelope full of pieces and parts. This is just a generic hello friend card. Here's a birthday card. Another birthday card that looks very similar. Another birthday card that also looks very similar. Again, I think I had the pieces and parts of those all cut out, and it was like, I just need to put them together. This is a sympathy card. I actually had a couple more of these. I had made 3 or 4 of these. It looked almost exactly like this one, but I've had to send a few lately. So they have gone out. Cute flower birthday card. Thank you for being you is what this one says. I have so much paper, and I'm really just trying to use up the paper I have, because I would really like to paper down and have less. Just a generic, if you just need a little hello, and a couple of birthday cards using this teacup paper, and here's the last one. So I have made, these have actually been made for, well, a while, but and I'm not even going to bother to show you my whip go board, because like I said, it's very behind and I need to get it caught up. And it's been on my list of things to do for the last 3 weeks. I keep moving cards to the next day, to the next week, to the next month, and I need to just make myself come in here and get started. That for me is the hardest part of card making. Once I get started and I get going, I'm fine. It's starting, and I don't know why. That wraps up paper crafting. Last up is reading. I wish I could explain why I seem to have like blanked out from February till now. I don't know. It's not that there wasn't anything going on. I mean, I had a cold, but like I wasn't sick. There was nothing earth-shattering that should have been keeping me from putting out my reading wrap-ups and doing these videos, and yet I did not do them. And I hate when I get in those times when it's like I just can't get my act together. But I'm trying to get my act together today. So I finished up my reading wrap-ups for, I think the last one I did was March. So I will put the March one up here. And we'll take a look at that together for a second. To see if there's anything that I want to comment on. I'm assuming that I showed you February's in the February video. No, I wouldn't have, because it would have been the wrap up. So I guess I'm going to put February up, not March. In February, of these books that you see on the screen: The English Masterpiece, To Love a Beast, Once Upon a Wardrobe, Sense and Suitability, The Last Fashion House of Paris, and An Overdue Match. They were all very good. As you can see, I think I gave almost all of I gave them all but one 5 stars, and the other one got 4 stars. To Love a Beast, Karen Wittemeyer. I haven't ever read a book of hers that I did not enjoy. Sense and Suitability, also Pepper Basham. I have not read a book of hers that I have not enjoyed. That one was a retelling. I wanted to say it was a retelling of Sense and Sensibility, more or less. An Overdue Match was cute, but it irritated me because the main character was supposed to be a librarian, and she was using patron information to try to match people up, and I was like, that's just a no-no. I mean, I know it's fiction, still not cool. March, we'll put March up. Mrs. Endicott's Splendid Adventure. I do feel like I've talked about these before, but maybe I haven't. If I have, fast forward. Was meh. I only gave it 3 stars. The Four Winds by Kristen Hanna, I did really enjoy. I gave that one 5 stars. That was the first Kristen Hanna I have ever read. I have to say, I learned a lot about the Dust Bowl era. I did not know anything about that, really. Hearts on the Fly was excellent. A Song in the Dark was also very good. And then I had to read The Librarian's Guide to Homelessness for work, so that got put on there. I will be catching up on these over the next few days. So if you want to look at these more closely, watch my Instagram account and they will be going up. I'm thinking I'll put them up. I hesitate to put them all up on the same day because I don't know why, because I do. But I will put them up here so you get to see them first. April, Christmas in the Castle Library. This was book 2 in a series, and it was excellent. Book 1 was also excellent. I don't know why I picked up the next one, the official We Do Not Care Club handbook. I think because this Melanie has popped up on my Instagram and Facebook feeds a few times. The first few times she showed up, it was funny, but it kind of got old fast. And basically the book was just the same thing all over and over and over again. I mean, different words, but basically the same thing. Jennifer Schiavarini, The Patchwork Players, 5 star. I have enjoyed that entire series. That's the newest in the Elm Creek Quilts series. Miss Morgan's Brigade was not quite what I thought it was going to be, but it was still pretty good. It was World War II, I think. World War II. Letters from My Sister was also not quite what I thought it was going to be, but it was still pretty good. Gave that 4 stars. Tessa Afshar, I think I said that wrong. Tessa Afshar, The Queen's Cook. I believe that's the first book in a series. It was excellent, and that one I picked up because Leanne from Leanne Stitches / Forbidden Fiber Co. had mentioned it and said that it was excellent, so I picked it up. I tend not to read, I read Christian fiction, but I don't tend to read biblical fiction, which is where it takes place back in Bible times. I don't tend to read that very often, but picked this one up because she said it was great, and she was not wrong. It was excellent. And then I also read The Menopause Brain by Lisa Mosconi, which I read because I had listened to a podcast where she was a guest, and she was interesting to listen to, so I read her book. It had some useful information in it. In May, I listened to the latest book in the Mitford series by Jan Karen, My Beloved. It was good. I gave it 4 stars. It was cute. It was good. I listened to That's a Great Question, I'd Love to Tell You by Elise Myers. Again, somebody that pops up on my Facebook and Instagram feeds, and she's kind of funny, so I thought I'd listen to her book, and it was okay. The Women of Oak Ridge by Michelle Shockley, 5 stars. If you haven't read a Michelle Shockley book yet, what are you waiting for? Excellent. Every book I've read by her is excellent, which you'll see at the bottom of this sheet, because I read a second one by her this month. I read To Love a Lady by Gabrielle Meyer. She is the one who writes the Timeless series that I've talked about before. This is a new series by her, and this is book 1. These books are like retellings of well-known musicals. Musicals? Yeah. This one was basically a retelling of My Fair Lady. The next book in the series is supposed to be a retelling of Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, I believe. And I look forward to reading that because Seven Brides for Seven Brothers is one of my favorite movies. I just think it's funny. I listened to All We Thought We Knew by Michelle Shockley. Again, if you're not reading Michelle Shockley, why not? She's excellent. I read Joy Span by Dr. Carrie Burnite. Again, listened to a podcast where she was a guest and wanted to read her book. In fact, if anybody's interested in menopause, growing older, aging well, etc., and you want to listen to an excellent podcast, let me know and I will tell you which episode it was that she was on. I sent that to my 2 best friends from college and my sister-in-law, and I'm like, you have to listen to this podcast. And they all came back and said, you're right, that was excellent. It was stuff I needed to hear. It was great information. In fact, I may go back and I think I listened to it twice already. I may go back and listen to it again because it was just that good. And I read The Watchmaker's Daughter. That was only a 3-star. It was okay. It just wasn't anything that I was like, oh, everybody needs to read this. Then in June, we'll put June up here. Gabrielle Meyer has another new series that she has started, and this one is Ladies of the Wilderness. I already read book 1, trying to remember what the title is, but I cannot at the moment. This is book 2, The Lady of Red River Valley. It was pretty good. I read Godmersham Park by, I'm not sure how you say that person's first name. Is it Gil Hornby or Jill Hornby? Godmersham Park, it was, how do I explain it? It was not a spin-off of a Jane Austen, but Jane Austen was in it. Like, the main character in Godmersham Park was the governess of Jane's brother's daughter. So Jane makes appearances in the book. It was pretty good. I listened to The Collector of Burned Books by Rosanna M. White. That was excellent. I listened to This Book Made Me Think of You by Libby Page. That was probably one of the best books that I have listened to in a long time. It literally had me almost in tears a couple of times. It was just very touching. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It did have a little bit of language, but nothing too outlandish. And it was just a really nice story, very well told, and the audiobook was excellent. And then I listened to and read, kind of half and half, the latest Emma M. Lyon book, volume 8. The only reason I listened to part of it, because those are usually available on Kindle Unlimited, which is where I've been reading them. I do get audiobooks occasionally from a company called Chirp, and Chirp sells audiobooks for a lot cheaper than you can get them in a lot of other places, and they have sales quite frequently. and they were having a sale where you could get basically all of the M&M lions that are out, 1 through 8. I think I paid $25 or $28 for the whole, all 8. So, I mean, they were like $3 and $4 a piece, which is dirt cheap for an audiobook. And I could see myself going back and revisiting this series, especially after it's all done. I've heard some people say that the author has said she's going to do 25 volumes, so I could really see myself going back and starting from the beginning and going straight through them. Because I do think there are times when I'm reading and I go, I know that's probably significant or something happened in relation to that before, but I can't remember what because it's been too long since I read it. You know, whatever book that incident was in. So anyway, I decided to go ahead and spend the money and buy the audiobooks that were available up until that point. And I don't regret that necessarily, but I was about halfway through volume 8 and I decided I would listen, and I ended up finishing it on audio. And the only thing that irritated me, well, first of all, let me just say that the narrator pronounced one of the main characters' names differently than I have been pronouncing it in my head. He's I say a duke? I don't know. He's somebody. Anyway, his last name is Islington. I was pronouncing that in my head as Islington. The narrator pronounced it as Islington. Okay, I can see where it could go either way. But there's another character in the book whose name is Isla, a woman, Isla, and I was also pronouncing her name Isla. So if Isla is Isla, Islington makes sense to be Islington. And the narrator did pronounce her name as Isla, but his name is Islington. That aside, I could understand, okay, so maybe I've been pronouncing it wrong. Whatever, doesn't matter. But 3/4 of the way through the book, all of a sudden, she started pronouncing it as Islington. She dropped the L altogether. And she, about 2 more times, she did say Islington. But the rest of the time, for the last quarter of the book, she kept saying Islington. And that just irked me to no end, because the same woman has been narrating all 8 volumes. How do you get to the end of volume 8 and all of a sudden you change the way you're saying his name? And also, isn't there a producer or somebody of these things who would have caught that and been like, you need to go back and re-record that because you're saying the person's name wrong? That kind of irritated me. But anyway, I mean, it's not important. It just seemed odd to me. Anyway, I will be posting these, but just to let you know, I am at 37 books on my 75 book goal for the year. I have been coloring in my bookshelf and working on that. That's just a fun thing that I do. And my reading whip go board is looking very good. I have 1 book here in the top row, 1 book here in the second row, 1 book here, 2 books in this row, and 2 books in this row. And of those, this one is on my list for this month. This one is on my list for this month. So I'm actually also hoping to finish this up very early in the year. So that wraps it up. I I wish I could tell you there was something exciting going on in my life, but there's not. I go to work, I come home, I go walking every day. My husband and I have been walking together a lot more lately, and we have upped it from 2 miles a day to 3 miles a day. And even this past week, when it was a heat index of over 100, we still managed to do 3 miles every day. So felt good about that. Work, come home, try to do some crafting, etc. You know, but nothing super exciting going on. I again apologize that it has been so long since I have been here. I apologize that this is probably long. Hopefully I can keep myself on track and come back at the end of this month so that we don't have 6 months in between. But we shall see how it goes. All is well with all of you, and I hope that you're all getting all the crafting time that you desire. If you're somewhere where it's hot, like it is here in Michigan right now, stay cool. If you have summer plans, I hope they go well and that you enjoy yourself. And until I come back, happy crafting.